My name is Mia. I'm 33 and Christmas used to be the one time my family actually got along. Cheap gifts, bad music, way too much food, it was messy but it felt like home. I lived out of state but I always sent money, helped out quietly, no questions asked. I thought that's what family did. Until this year when they canceled Christmas, just for me. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people you trusted most, don't skip this video. Stay until the end, because on Revenge Lola, even the quiet ones get their story heard. My name is Mia. I'm 33 years old, and for as long as I can remember, Christmas wasn't about the presents or the food or even the decorations. It was about that one fragile moment in the year when my family remembered how to be family. We weren't perfect, far from it. But every December, we came together in my parents' old house like clockwork. My dad would grumble while untangling the lights, my mom would burn at least one dish in the oven, and my sister Emily would pretend to hate caroling while secretly humming every word. It was chaotic, awkward, and sometimes borderline dysfunctional, but it was ours. I didn't live nearby. I moved out of state years ago for work, landing a good job that paid more than I needed and cost me more than I thought. Mostly in missed birthdays, forgotten anniversaries, and that lingering ache of watching my little niece grow up through Instagram stories instead of bedtime hugs. Still, I never let the distance turn into absence. I shipped thoughtful gifts each holiday season. I called regularly, always asked about how they were doing, even when they rarely asked back. And when money got tight, and it always did, I quietly stepped in. Mom's blender broke just before Thanksgiving last year, so I sent a new one. No note. No fanfare. Just a smile in her voice the next time she called. Emily's obsession with her TikTok fashion channel? I bought her those limited edition sneakers she posted about. Dad's specialty beer for Boxing Day? Crates shipped, delivered, and devoured before the clock struck midnight on the 26th. I was never asked directly for help, not often anyway. But I saw the signs. A vague text from Dad saying, "Can you spot me till Friday?" meant the water bill was late. Quiet pause during a phone call with Mom meant the grocery money was running thin. I picked up the slack like second nature. No questions, no judgment, no drama. Just family. I wasn't trying to buy their love. I didn't want applause. I just believed that this is what love looks like, showing up when it's inconvenient, giving when no one's counting, caring without being asked. I was the bridge no one saw, the safety net no one mentioned, the silent giver behind every wrapped present and every warm dinner. I didn't mind. At least not then. 'Cause I believed that when people fall short, family catches them. And even though I lived in a small studio apartment, spent most holidays alone, and went unnoticed more often than not, I had this quiet pride that maybe in my own invisible way I was holding things together. I didn't need a parade. I just wanted to be included. To feel like I mattered. Like I belonged. But that's the thing about silent givers, people get used to them being quiet and forget they can walk away. I didn't expect fireworks. Just a seat at the table. Through all the little things I'd done through the years, the bills I covered, the gifts I sent, the silences I filled, I figured Christmas would still be sacred. Maybe scaled back, maybe quieter, but still ours. So when the family group chat pinged on December 20th, I opened it with a smile, expecting something simple, a reminder about who's bringing the dessert or maybe a blurry photo of Dad tangled in Christmas lights. Instead, there was a single message from Mom. "Hey kids, after a lot of thought, we're canceling Christmas this year. Just too expensive to host everyone. And with everything going on, we're thinking of keeping it low-key. Love you all." That was it. No call. No check-in. No compromise. Just a cold, quiet decision delivered like a shipping notification. I blinked at the screen, convinced there had to be more. So I replied, asking if they were sure. All I got was a thumbs-up emoji from Emily, and then she changed the group chat photo to a stock image of a sad snowman. It was so absurd, I almost laughed. Almost. I didn't push back. I told myself maybe they just needed a quiet year. Maybe money really was tight, even though I just sent a payment for their January rent the week before. I didn't question their story. I didn't argue. I just whispered, "Okay, understood," and started planning a Christmas for one. I bought myself a frozen lasagna, lit the pine-scented candle my coworker gifted me, and queued up Home Alone for the 15th time. Alone on Christmas Eve, I tried to drown out the silence with sound, cheesy movie dialogue, boiling water, the faint hiss of snow brushing my windowsill. Anything to avoid thinking too much. Christmas Day was quiet. I slept in. I FaceTimed a few friends. I tried to be grateful, to not take it personally. After all, hadn't I said I didn't need much? I told myself that skipping a holiday wasn't betrayal. That I was being mature. That it wasn't about me. But something gnawed at me. That unspoken ache. That sense of being erased. And then, at 8 p.m., everything shifted. A notification buzzed on my phone. Emily has gone live on Instagram. Out of habit or maybe hope, I tapped it. And my heart stopped. She was at my parents' house. The same house I'd offered to help decorate 2 weeks earlier. The same house that supposedly couldn't afford to host Christmas. Except it was decked out like a Macy's window, glittering lights, a towering tree, and laughter echoing through the phone speaker. There were at least 30 people there, drinks in hand, music thumping, confetti flying. Emily waved at the camera, shouting, "Merry Christmas from the real crew!" The real crew. And in that split second, it became clear this wasn't about money. This wasn't about cutting back. This was about cutting me out. I sat frozen, thumb hovering over the screen. The lasagna had gone cold. Candle flickered lower. But I couldn't move. I couldn't look away. Not because of the party, but because of the silence that had come before it. No fight. No reason. Just erasure. It wasn't the exclusion that hurt the most. It was how easy it was for them. I didn't cry. I didn't scream or throw my phone across the room. I just sat there, motionless, watching a party I was never meant to see, hosted by people I thought I mattered to. At some point, the candle burned halfway down. The lasagna dried out in its foil pan. And I just sat, letting the betrayal wrap around me like a weighted blanket. Then, the next morning, the silence broke. Text from Dad. No Merry Christmas. No, how are you? Not even a hint of regret. Can you send over the $3,100 for January? Need it by tomorrow if possible. That was all. Not a single word about the party. Not a single acknowledgement of the lie. Just a request, no, a command, like I was nothing more than a living ATM with emotional amnesia. As if my loyalty had no limit, no expiry date, no line they could cross. And something in me cracked. Not the kind of crack that makes you break down, the kind that makes you wake up. I opened my banking app, scrolled through transaction history, auto-pays, linked accounts, and then I started shutting it all down. No rage. No dramatic message. Just methodical, meticulous unhooking of every financial tie that bound me to them. The rent on Dad's temporary second property? Gone. Emily's phone plan? Cancelled. The Spotify family subscription? Downgraded to just me. Utilities? Internet? Gas? All under my name, all cut loose. Took me 5 hours and a dozen phone calls. Some of the customer service reps were confused. One, Susan from the gas company, even said gently, "That sounds awful. I hope you're okay." I smiled and said, "I will be. Thank you." Because I wasn't lashing out. I wasn't punishing them. I was finally choosing myself. Once everything was disconnected, I sat down, typed one simple message. Lose my number. I don't fund liars. Then I blocked them, all of them. Dad. Emily. Even the family group chat. By the next morning, my phone lit up with 53 missed calls. I didn't answer, but I listened to one voicemail. It was my mom, voice trembling. "Please call us. There's been a misunderstanding. Just please." I didn't delete it. I didn't respond either. 'Cause I finally had the upper hand. And I wasn't done. They wanted me to play the role of the forgiving daughter. The dependable one. The one who always swept the mess under the rug while they toasted champagne above it. But this time I folded the rug up and tossed it out the door. The truth was, I didn't need revenge. Not in the traditional sense. I didn't want to ruin their lives. I just wanted to stop being the fool in mine. The girl who paid for everyone else's mistakes. Who got silence in return for sacrifice. Who was left out of the one thing she'd been holding together. And as I watched the notifications roll in, desperate texts, panicked voicemails, even DMs from cousins I hadn't heard from in years, I realized something beautiful. Their chaos wasn't mine to fix anymore. I had handed back their dysfunction, tied with a bow. Quiet. Clean. Just like they did to me. They weren't used to silence. Not mine, anyway. For years, I'd been the one who always responded, to guilt, to vague requests, to emotional manipulation dressed up as family banter. But now that I had gone quiet, really quiet, their world began to unravel. At first, it was voicemails, shaky, tearful, "Please call us," and "It's all a misunderstanding." I let them pile up. Then came the indirect attacks. Emily posted a dramatic Instagram story about how some people just love ruining Christmas, with a blurry photo of her holding a shattered ornament for effect. Subtle, right? My cousins, some of whom I hadn't spoken to in over a year, started messaging me things like, "Hey, you didn't miss much. It was all last minute. You're blowing this out of proportion. We didn't even know you weren't coming." I didn't reply. I screenshotted everything. Started a folder called Evidence. Because I wasn't just walking away this time. I was building a case, not for court but for closure. Then came the email from Dad. The subject line? Urgent. Content? A mixture of gaslighting and guilt. "You've always been sensitive. You're blowing this out of proportion. We're struggling and we thought we could count on you like always." He didn't mention the party. Didn't acknowledge the lie. He just wanted me to resume my role. The financier. The fixer. He ended the message with something that stuck. "Family comes first." I almost laughed out loud. Where was that slogan when you uninvited me from my own family's holiday? When you toasted champagne under twinkling lights and let me spend Christmas alone with cold lasagna? Suddenly, family mattered, the moment the money stopped. And then came the final blow. My bank flagged a login attempt from a known device, an old iPad I had left at my parents' house 2 years earlier. I had never logged out. Someone had tried to reset my online banking password 3 times. I knew exactly who it was. I didn't rage. I didn't call to confront them. I simply drove. 3 hours, no music, no radio. Just silence, the kind that wraps around you like armor when you finally realize your worth. I arrived unannounced. Their house looked the same. Christmas lights still half hanging like an afterthought. A plastic Santa drooped sideways on the lawn, deflated and sad. Felt symbolic. When Dad opened the door, he looked smaller, not just older but deflated too. He blinked like I was a ghost. Mia. I didn't wait. "Where's the iPad?" He stammered. "We haven't used it. Maybe Emily." "Save it," I cut in. "I know someone tried to access my bank with it. I'm here to take it." And after that, we're done. He didn't fight. He just walked back inside. The house was a mess. Plastic cups, confetti stuck to the floor, the leftovers of a party built on lies. Emily appeared on the staircase, eyes red, probably preparing some watered-down apology. I didn't care. I grabbed the iPad off the living room table and walked toward the door. "Wait, Mia," she called after me. "Can we talk?" "Just 5 minutes." I turned back once. "I gave you 5 years," I said. "We're even." And I left. No tears. No yelling. Just me, walking out with nothing in my hands but an old iPad and everything I should have taken back years ago. My peace, my power, and my permission to say enough. The iPad sat in my passenger seat like a relic of a life I no longer belonged to. As I pulled away from the street I once called home, there was no grand epiphany, no triumphant music playing in the background. Just the steady rhythm of tires on wet pavement, and a growing sense that something heavy had finally shifted. Back at my apartment, I did what needed to be done. Changed every password. Logged out of every old device. Called my lawyer friend not to sue but to make sure I'd sealed every door they once slipped through. And then came the silence. The real kind. No urgent emails. No voicemail guilt trips. Just quiet. Till of course it cracked. Aunt Meredith called from an unknown number. I answered out of pure curiosity. Her voice was clipped, sharp, controlled. The kind of voice that's practiced in looking good even while saying the ugliest things. "I just want to say, Mia, I'm disappointed." I didn't answer. "Whatever happened between you and your parents is your business, but you don't turn your back on family. Not when they're struggling." I kept my tone even. Did they tell you why I stopped helping? She paused. They said you had a meltdown over not being invited to a last-minute get-together. That you're blowing things out of proportion. I took a breath. Did they also tell you I've been paying their rent for nearly 3 years? That I covered Emily's phone plan, Dad's gas bills, Mom's groceries, while they toasted champagne and posted smiling selfies? Silence. Longer this time. Well, even if that's true, it doesn't justify cutting them off completely. I didn't cut them off, I said. They made a choice. I just finally believed them. I hung up before she could respond. No anger. No regret. Just clarity. But I wasn't finished. There was one thing left to do. I opened my laptop and pulled up the shared Google Sheet I'd kept for years, my quiet log of every payment, every transfer, every emergency I was called to fix. I tallied it all. Emily's braces, $1,750. Mom's outpatient surgery deductible, $950. Dad's rent over 27 months, $8,400. Gas, groceries, repairs, loans never repaid, line after line of quiet sacrifice. Final total? $38,076. I stared at the number. I never asked for it back. I never intended to. But that wasn't the point. So I printed it, signed it, attached it to a letter I mailed certified to each of them, Mom, Dad, Emily, even Meredith. To whom it may concern. You know who you are. The letter wasn't bitter. It was factual. Calm. Final. I told them I wasn't requesting repayment, just offering the official receipt for services rendered. And announcing that those services were no longer available. No more calls. No more events. No more access. It was done. A week later, I got one final email from my mother. We didn't think it would hurt you so badly. We assumed you were used to it by now. That sentence broke me more than any party ever could. Used to it. As if exclusion was a role I was born to play. I folded the letter, tucked it into a drawer I no longer opened, and began again. I moved to a brighter apartment, turned the second bedroom into an art studio, started painting again, went to therapy, traveled alone, laughed louder. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need apologies. I just needed to stop being who they expected and become who I actually was. Free. I didn't walk away to punish them. I walked away to finally protect myself. For years, I showed up when no one asked how I was doing. I gave, I covered, I stayed silent, until silence became my strength. I'm no longer the fixer, the bank, the afterthought. I'm Mia. I matter. And I'm finally living for me. Peach Balloon, if you've ever felt used, forgotten, or taken for granted by the people who were supposed to love you most, you're not alone. Share your truth in the comments. Revenge Lola is listening. And so am I.